So far, we have been using input and output devices from the user to get data or output data. For example, we use keyboard and asking the user to input data into the program. Then we will print out the result into a console window. But entering data all the time, as well as reading data from console, could be tedious and is very error prone. For this reason, modern computers use files to save data, both for input and for output. Now, files can be input files or output files. Thinking about in the Java virtual machines case, it reads Java source code, compile it into a bytecode. Here, Java source code is the input, and the Java bytecode is the output for the Java compiler. In order to process file, you must open the file first, which means you are registering with the operating system that you will use this file and nobody else should be touching that at this time. Then you will read from the file, write to the file, doing whatever processing logic you need to do. And finally, you will close the file. By closing the file, you make sure everything is properly written, and then you notify operating system that you are done with the file and other people can use it. In general, there are two types of files, binary and text. Binary file is everything with a 0 and 1 bit, such as audio and video, like MP3, MP4. And text files contains human-readable Unicode or ASCII2 characters. In this course, we are going to focus on text file because text file processing is much simpler than binary. In addition, binary format, there are many different binary formats, and each binary format requires some different processing logic. The processing of audio file apparently is different from processing of video file, right? So in this course, we are going to focus on text processing. In the future, if you run into binary processing, usually you will be specific on what format of binary you are going to handle. And at that time, you can do some research and check out the specific logic that you will use for the binary processing. So let's start by writing text to a file. To open the file for text output, you create an instance of the print writer class. So here you will first specify the name of the file that you want to open. You pass this as an argument to a new print writer object. By using this new print writer file name, you are creating a new print writer object. And you assign the reference to this object to a variable called output file. If the file already exists, it will be erased and replaced with a new file. So once you have this print writer variable, you can write data to a file using the print and the print line methods as you have been using to display data on the screen. Just as with the system.out object, the print line method of the print writer class will replace a new line character after the written data, and the print method writes data without writing the new line character. Now look at the sample code. What we are doing here is we are creating a new print writer object. And now if you think about the system.out object, system.out we mentioned is also a predefined object. And that object have a print line method. Similarly, output file is also an object. It's also a variable referencing the object. It also have a print line method, which will behave the same way as a system.out object's print line method. The only difference is system.out will show up in your console window, while your output file will show up in the file and you won't directly see it. You need to use another application to open the file in order to see the output. And once you finish writing, using print line and print, you will close the object, close the file. To use the print writer class, put the following import statement at the top of the source file. That's import java.io. Basically, that means print writer class is a part of this java.io library. In order to use this class, you need to notify Java that you will import this library and every class inside it. So let's take a look at file write demo. You start by setting up scanner because you need to use some input. Then you will get some information and consume the remaining new line character. Then after that, you will enter the file name. Here we are opening up the file. So this is a typical flow. You need to get the file name somehow. Either you already know it, or you will ask the user to enter the file name. Once you get the file name, you will generate the print writer object based on the file name. Then for a count of your number of friends, you will ask for the friend's name, and every time you get a friend's name, you will print out to the file object, to the output file. And eventually you will finish all this number of friends and close the output file.